welcome back to another video of women working your faith.
Oh no.
It says yours.
It's a practice. Women work your faith, not working.
Oh.
You got to do the clap for it, Kanisha. Take two. Even though Mother's Day has just passed, this video is part 2 of our tribute to women and mothers. A link for part 1 is in the description box. In this video, we talk about the mothers, the grands, and even the great-grands that have significantly impacted our lives as we've grown into women and people of faith. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Welcome back to another video of Women Work Your Faith. If you are new to this channel, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications to get all our new videos. And I am Sister Jayla. My mom is Miss Kanisha. And I am here. It is Mother's Day. I'm going to talk about my mom.
So, what would you like to say about your mother?
My mom, she is there for me when I don't have anyone else to talk to. We talk about all sorts of stuff. She's funny. We laugh all the time. Have random choir concerts in the car.
What do y'all sing in the car?
There was this one time we were singing "Take Me to the King" in like different ways, like opera, upbeat. Very slow, like a robot.
No, we remember you as little bitty Jayla, but now you're growing up and you're kind of blossoming into womanhood. A lot like your mom. So, do you think about that when you're, you see yourself getting older, and you talked about style and Bath and Body Works. I remember that was the spot when I was a teenager. Do you ever find yourself trying to emulate her or copy things that she does?
Yes. I always like when I need help picking out an outfit, the first person I go to is like my mom. She gives me different tips on how to style, but also being modest about it.
And what do you think modesty is?
Not showing too much skin, having the nice length of skirts and dresses, but also having style. She's there to talk when you need to talk. Very funny with my children. Being able to teach them new things.
So is there anything else that you would like to say to your mom or any other mothers that might see this video?
Mom, just keep on doing what you're doing. Because one day your kids can come back to you and say that you are blessed for raising them. And they're gonna come back to you, and as you see them grow up, you're like, oh, I did a good job in raising them.
Good job. I grew up in a family full of women. Lots and lots and lots of women, but each person's role in the care and the upbringing of the children was significant, and it mattered. Both of my grandfathers passed when I was young. One when I was very young, and then one when I was a young girl. But my grandmothers lived, one of them is still living, and one of them lived into my adulthood. And they were very serious about the teaching. And not just, how a young lady conducts herself. But it was important for me to know my history, to know my family, to know where I came from, why I did things a certain way, or why I shouldn't do things a certain way. We were always being taught. And it was always group lessons because it was so much family. It was myself and my sisters and my cousins, and we were always being taught together.
On my mom's side, there were 5 generations coming down. My great grandmother, she lived to be 104. She was just shy of 105.
Wow.
But I have great memory of her because she was so active in everybody's life. I don't know who she didn't babysit because she babysat, and it was like a way, sometimes you hear that and people shun, oh my goodness, don't let people babysit your kids. And I'm not telling you send your kids all over the place. I'm not. But the fact that my great grandmother was able to watch me while my mom would go to work, or my mom and dad wanted to get away, or whatever it may be. That time that we had with her was precious. And everybody has their own stories about Baba and what Baba did for them. I remember her making me sandwiches. She put mustard on it. I didn't like mustard, but she put it on it anyway. She's popular for so many of y'all. I'm putting this mustard on this sandwich, you know.
Well, you couldn't tell that generation. It was like there was no democracy. No, like she made what she made, you gonna eat it. That's what it is.
But I also remember the hospitality of her. Hospitality was second to none. Now this was in my adult life. At this time, I had my first child, so she was my daughter's great grandmother. And when me and my husband, my family, went over to go visit her, she cooked, and we sat at the table.
Oh, she could fry fish.
And ate on glass plates. She was a great party host. That's what she did, and she passed that down to everybody in the family. So like when we have holidays, everything is like so elaborate and well thought out and planned, and it's because of what she instilled in everybody down through the years, because everyone's seen her great hospitality. I remember I was like, Baba, give me that plastic plate. She said, nope. And she gave me that glass plate, and I was like, all right, yes ma'am, I'm gonna eat off this glass plate. And my food was good. And she was well in age at this time, but you know, looking back, I don't even know her as a young woman. I don't recall when she was young. She's always been older, but it was still such love, and you know, what's the word I want to use? She was able to relate, and it didn't matter, and it was a broad range. She had grandchildren, great grands, and then great greats, and she was still able to connect on every level. And it wasn't just us. She too did it for other people's children.
I grew up, I say this, that I believe if God left my grandmother on the earth for anybody, he left her for me. I grew up with brothers. I have two older sisters, but they were like 6 or 7 years older than me, and so I was always too little. And so I grew up, my oldest brother was 20 months older, and the next one was 20 months younger, and then a bunch of boys, and then I'm 8 years older than my youngest sister. So I grew up with boys, but my grandmother, she used to tell me as a little girl, and she would be a rocker, and I would sit there, and she would rub my head, and she said, Neitha, one day God's going to use you. I would say, okay. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't understand the significance of a lot of things that were said.
But boy, I know it now. And then she said, now the kids would be out playing and doing all kinds. She said, Neitha, come in. And I would go in, and she had me reading Paul Laurence Dunbar, or she had me reading Oedipus Rex. She had me reading Edgar Allan Poe. She had all these books because she was one of those old teachers, and she would have me read it. And my team would say, oh, read this aloud. And I'd be just reading. She said, I'm so bored.
You were reading?
Yeah, I was just, I was just reading. She said, make it interesting. Make me like what you're saying. And she taught me how to be expressive. And when we had speeches at church, you better not get up with a piece of paper. You had to learn it, and then you had to be convincing in the way that you present it. She taught me great lessons. And one of the things that I still pass on right now is my grandmother taught me, it was a terrible thing that happened to me, and I was just so devastated. And my grandmother said, baby, folks do what's in them. And then she said, if better was in them, they would do it. And then she stopped. This is the kicker. She said, but remember now, child, better might be in them, but not toward you. That has stuck with me, and I was 9 years old when she told me that. And she put all kinds of little wisdoms in me that I have passed on to you, just so many people. I just pass it on because it has life. Even when I was a young woman and I went away to college, the one thing that helped to govern me, is my grandmother trusted me. And I was determined I was not going to make my grandmother ashamed, and I was not going to let her down. And my mom, I didn't want to do that. And so, and her words would come back to me. And before I got to Jesus, my grandmother's words governed me. I'm telling you.
We're going to close out a little bit, but I just wanted to share this little thought, and I knew Kanisha could probably relate to this a little bit. So Mama Starworth is she's sweet, she's soft-spoken and all of that, and she is quite the Hawkeyes in church. And so sometimes you don't really be feeling it, right? And so you walk in church and you be like this. And you be like, don't make eye contact. No, oh, she's turning around. She's turning around.
She know. I ain't even tell her yet.
She surveys the congregation, and it's like the C parts.
And you left right there.
And she's like this. And you be trying to be like this, like it's like all the people in the congregation, boo. She's not talking about you. She's talking about you. She takes her role seriously, and she takes the responsibility seriously, and it's something that I've learned from, not to neglect my duty to others.
We hope you have enjoyed sitting with us and coming along for this conversation as we talked about the loved ones we've had in our lives who have made an impression on us as women. And we would love to hear from you. So in the comment section, list some of the women in your family or in your life in general who have helped or made an impression on you, and you see their hand in your life today. And as an extra bonus, as you know, oftentimes when women get together, some additional conversation takes place. So we have added a little clip of impromptu teaching that we received from Mother Starworth while she was with us that day. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and God bless.
Was in prayer, and looked like I just, you know how when you're praying and you're pressing into prayer, but it feels like, you know how you blow up a balloon and you press that balloon, you know how that feels? Yeah, it just, and I'm going, wait, something is not right. And I said, God, what's going on here? What's going on here? And he said to me, let me do it. You don't have to. Just let me do it. In other words, you do this piece, I got the rest of it. You do that piece, I got the rest of it. You don't worry about what you can't do. Don't you worry about it, what others may or may not do. You just do you. And you do it to the best of your ability, because God writes that down. You always want God to write down what you're doing. When God writes it down, you got to pay that code.